Chelley, I'm gonna need you to see me. I'm gonna need you to come up to the front, Chelley. I gave you 1 day to crash out. I gave you 1 day to crash out. I even understood you, sis. I was like, you know what? I get it. I understand the shock of it all. I understand that certain people have been putting restrictions out there that they haven't been following themselves. I gave you 1 day because I was under the impression that you was gonna be mad and then you were gonna kind of make up with her the next day. I did not know that you was going to be crashing out over this situation days to come. You and Ace, you guys have been running the same game on each other, and both of y'all spent this episode mad that that game blew up in y'all's faces. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Legs, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting me or supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. If you're coming back to this channel every day, and believe it, I can see the analytics. I can see that some of y'all are returning viewers every single day and you're not hitting that subscribe. What is the reason? What is the reason? It's so much easier to hit subscribe, then my videos will automatically pop up for you rather than you having to either search my name or hope that I come up on that recommended page. So please, please, please hit the subscribe button. We have made almost 1,000 or 1,500 new subscribers since Love Island has started. So thank you guys so much, first of all, because there's been a ton of you that have come and support this channel. It has been amazing. It has been awesome. And I'm just so grateful that all of you guys are here, no matter what kind of narrative the people's is running. But thank you guys so much. I do have a $1 channel membership also if you want to join that, and it is just to go that extra mile to support that content, this daily content, baby. I've been here every single day for 24 days, basically 25 days now. So please, please, please consider that. Please make sure you're interacting with the videos. But today we are going to get into Love Island season 7 episode 25, and today Chelley gonna get the smoke. I told y'all, if you're new to this channel, I told y'all just wait on it. Some of y'all that I could tell do not watch this channel regularly. You'll be in the comments like, why didn't you comment this person? Why didn't you comment this person? This person did this wrong. This person, I'm like, just wait. If you know me, every single person will likely catch the smoke on this channel at some point or another. And today it is Shelly and Ace's turn. Because, as I said, those two have been running a game on each other this entire season. They've been playing around, and now the two of them are mad that what they did has kind of blown up in both of their faces. So let's jump into it. Let's get into the episode. So the guys are debriefing after the game.
It was a fun-ass challenge.
What I noticed is you moved through quick.
I noticed that too. I noticed that. You didn't even kiss her.
So the reason
Taylor is talking about how he did not want to kiss Alandrea because he didn't want to be disrespectful to Clark. Obviously, Alandrea pulled Taylor, doing a lot. Girl, okay. Now we have Ace. Ace realizes that Chelley is very pissed. As we know, Chelley is super duper upset at Huda, seemingly right now. That's the only person who's caught smoke. But Ace is bringing up how she did double back on Chris, which very, very fair. Again, this is the part where I say I think Chelley and Ace have both been running around playing a game with each other this entire villa. They've both been talking to multiple people. They don't want to be super serious about locking down, but now they want to try to come and expect themselves to be acting locked down at this point, question mark, even though neither one of them has really done that over the course of this show. So at this point, Nick is also feeling some type of way about Elan. Nick also says, hey, it is way too late for anyone to be acting like it is just a challenge anymore. It is too late in the season. There need to be locked in parents. I absolutely agree. But again, y'all have been deciding that you wanted to play Big Brother rather than playing Love Island. So therefore, there are not a lot of couples that seem locked in. We don't buy a lot of y'all are locked in because a lot of y'all aren't locked in. Nick is feeling some type of way about Elan going to kiss Sierra. He feels very disrespected. At this point, he says he doesn't F with Sierra or F with Elan. Elan didn't have to bring Sierra up to the heart. Why he had to do all of that? I'm like, Big Nick. Oh, it's Big Nick in the room now. Nick in the confessional acting like he about to go in on Elan. And I'm like, okay, Nick. Okay, whatever. So we got the Casa Boys talking, and first off, they're talking about how Brian kissed. Who did Brian kiss? Oh, well, Brian wanted to kiss Jaden. That's what he says. He's basically now saying that conversations with Andreina are boring. All it is physical. And I'm like, baby, it's giving. I'm saying that because she told you that she still wants to explore, but okay. Now, Elan is like, well, Nick is like really feeling some type of way, and I'm not about to apologize for kissing Sierra. It makes absolutely no sense. Elan, he was kind of living in a little Delulu land today. I'm not going to lie to you, because he does have another conversation later with Brian talking about me and Sierra haven't talked, but in the last conversation, she told me that we were going to continue. And I'm like, Elan. Now, truth be told, Sierra definitely needs to be picking Elan. I am sorry. When it comes to Nick, the two of them, it's purely physical. At no point this season have I believed that Nick and Sierra are actually a compatible couple. And I do not think Sierra needs to trust Nick at all. I don't know. Someone wrote a whole paragraph about how I never talked about how Sierra is being fetishized by Nick. First off, I don't think that Nick is fetishizing Sierra. I think Nick is just unserious. I don't think Nick is serious. And I've said multiple times throughout this season that Nick doesn't need to be with Sierra. Sierra doesn't need to be with him. Sierra definitely should have given Elan a chance. I think it's actually crazy how she got back to the villa and was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to talk to Elan at all. So I think that's very weird and a bad decision and a great misstep in Sierra's direction, in my personal opinion. So the Casa girls, they are talking, and the two girls are realizing that Alandrea didn't hold back, and they are telling Clark all about that. Clark says that she realizes that Alandrea was the one that initiated all of the kissing during the challenge. However, in their connection, Taylor is the one that initiates everything. And you know what? I gotta give it to Clark, because I think she is absolutely right. Again, Taylor is such a coward, and for some reason, he's still leaving the door open with Alandrea. At least out loud, he's leaving the door open when it's very clear that the door is closed for him. But I think that Clark is pretty spot on that Taylor doesn't initiate anything with Alandrea, even when the two of them were paired up. Taylor didn't initiate any physicality, whereas we see him initiate a ton with Clark. Put the arm around, give a kiss, put the coat down, rub her arm. He definitely has body language. He's actually facing her and leaning into her when they talk. So I get that, and I think that Clark, no need to crash out yet. Again, I think Alandrea, baby girl, I'm gonna tell you, I already told you, I'm not about to see you chasing Taylor for all these episodes again, because he made it very clear where he lays at. So Alandrea and Taylor.
What? Me?
Yeah, you got me for sure.
But I was like, for me,
They're having a little conversation. Alandrea is feeling on top of the world, that she got Taylor's heart rate up the most. So they start to talk. Now, Taylor says, look, I mean, I didn't really kiss you because I wanted to be respectful to Clark, but he mumbles it out because he never opens his mouth when he talks to Alandrea. He's like, oh, so I want to be respectful to Clark. He says that for him, he could have taken the easy route and chosen her during the recoupling. However, his head said to choose her, but his heart went with Clark. He then further explains that with Clark, he gets a feeling that he never got with her. Alandrea is still in denial for whatever reason and says, I don't get it. For me, it's really hard to conceptualize that in 2 or 3 days, everything has changed. What happened where everything changed within that short period of time? And I'm like, Alandrea, that should be the point where in your head, you realize there was never anything to begin with. If it takes someone 2 or 3 days to get off of you, they've already been checked out. Life lesson number 1. When someone cheats on you, they've already been checked out. Usually when someone leaves a relationship or breaks up with you, even in the normal fashion, they have already been checked out. People don't just fall out of love in one day. It doesn't be like that. So for Alandrea, she claims that she and Taylor are really cordial right now, and she still likes him, but she just can't get over the fact that he's always so unsure. And I'm like, girl, he's not unsure. This is Taylor's way of telling you, hey, I don't get the same feelings with you that I get with Clark. At this point, Alandrea, I gotta put some of it on you, girl, because yes, do I think Taylor is sort of indirect? Do I think Taylor on purpose does not directly come out and say what he means? I do, but I think at this point, he's giving you enough that it should be very clear where his feelings lie. Huda and Chris. So
Extra.
Just apologize. Be like, look, it wasn't like that. I'm sorry if you made you feel like that. Just reassure her.
Huda is kind of venting to Chris. She's like, oh my God, Shelly's really upset at me. I don't really understand what's going on. Chris is like, hey, just apologize to her. Just pull her for a chat. Obviously, it was just a challenge. Everybody can play the challenges. Huda says, look, if I wanted Ace, I would have went for him. And Chris is like, look, don't worry about it. People are just upset because MFs got their feelings hurt. I was like, not MFs. I don't know if he said it in this conversation or in a later conversation with Huda, but he called her MF. I was like, whoa. Okay, clearly I think Chris is completely off of Chelley. But at this point, Huda is sobbing. She's really upset. So Huda does try to pull Chelley for a chat after that.
I know you're upset.
No, wait. I think actually tomorrow we can have a chat.
And say, look, can we have a conversation? Chelley's like, look, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna talk to you in the morning, okay? I wanna talk to you in the morning because at this point, I don't wanna say anything out of anger. I'm really irritated. And I'm like, whoa, I'm not gonna lie. They stay up for hours and hours and hours after these competitions. And again, I understand initial anger. I was very much under the impression they were gonna make up this episode. I didn't realize Chelley was gonna be on 10 for this long. And so in the confessional, Chelley says, once again, when Jeremiah was here, I never tasted his tongue. I don't even know what his mouth tastes like. I never talked to him, blah, 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 blah. At this point, it's too much. She claims that Huda kept looking over at her in the challenge to make sure that it was okay. And I'm like, Chelley, this is where we gonna need to talk because here's the reality of the situation. Yes, Huda did a lot. I already gave her smoke last episode. So don't even. Go watch the last video if you want to hear the smoke that I gave Huda. However, Chelley, it's your turn. You know very well that you feel threatened because Ace hasn't locked in on you. And you also have not locked in on him. And there's a certain level of insecurity in that relationship that you feel that is causing you to be at this level right now. You know that you and Ace have been doing this ring around the rosy around the villa, sort of playing around with each other, teasing each other. If you like me, I'll like him. Okay, I like you. Ping pong and pancakes, but next thing you know, he's talking to someone else. You guys know that you have not been serious. You guys have been very unserious about the two of you. And that really came to a head tonight where you felt like, because let's be real, you're putting a lot of it on Huda, but you saw Ace. You saw Ace moving that thing up and down. You saw Ace gripping on that ad. You saw Ace thrusting during that situation. And you, in the back of your head, know that Ace was feeling it too. It's easy to pile on to Huda. Y'all kept her here knowing you ain't really like her. And I've said from day one, I don't think that those girls like Huda. Shelly and Alandrea being #1 contenders. Personally, I don't think they're a fan of Huda, and that's fine. But my question that I've always had is, why did y'all keep her in this villa? That is my reality. Y'all kept her in the villa knowing that you think she does too much, knowing that you all think that she's here, there, and everywhere, and then you're in shock that she did too much. So as much as I could give Huda the smoke, because again, I think Huda does do a lot, it's like, come on, Chelley, there's a couple of aspects here where you also have to be self-aware of what's you're doing and what your part is. Anyway, let's jump on to bedtime. Before bed, we have a couple more conversations. Ilan and Nick.
Before we came down here, she basically said if the opportunity presented itself where she could explore both her connection with me as well as her connection with...
So Nick is like, I felt very disrespected by you kissing Sierra in the challenge. I felt like that was something that a boundary was crossed. Ilan's like, well, Sierra told me that she's open to exploring, so I don't really know. Nick ignores that. He then goes on to the breakfast. He's like, well, at breakfast, you brought Sierra another C-shaped pancake as I brought her one too. So again, I felt like that was a boundary that you really crossed. I love that Ilan, first off in this conversation, he kept that eye contact like it was nothing. He did not break contact with Nick, and you could tell that Nick was shaking in his boots because Nick want to be big Nick, but he really little Nick. Let's be very honest here. So Elon is like, well, I started the C-shaped pancake in Casa Amor. So all I did was bring her the C-shaped pancake. And I pointed that out. I'm like, sorry, Nick, but get some originality. You're getting upset that you stole another man's idea that you didn't think of. Because let's be honest, you claim you love Sierra and you like her so much. But what have we seen you do creative and cute for her? Nothing. You stole another man's idea, or then are getting mad at that other man for doing the idea that he invented? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, where I say Nick is not trustworthy. Nick is not trustworthy. Nick is messy. Nick, I'm calling him Nicky. I'm gonna call him Nicky Poo now. He wants to win a game too. Don't think I didn't peep that. Nick wants to win a game as well. Anyway, on to Shelly and Ace. They talk a little bit about this competition.
Like, I'm not upset with you because...
Regarding the whole other thing, like, yeah, gave off I was enjoying it and all that, but...
Shelly and Ace. Shelly claims that he is not upset at Ace. She is not upset at Ace, sorry, at all about the Huda stuff. She knows that it was not him. Shelly, this is where Shelly lost me completely. This is where Shelly lost me completely. Because look, like I said, I gave her her moment to immediately be mad at Huda. That's her girl, whatever. But at the end of the day, let's not pretend like Ace was not a willing participant. Let's not pretend like Ace wasn't smiling, laughing, giggling after that all happened. So Ace runs back again how this was just a challenge, but at the same time, he had to watch her double back on Chris, which fair enough. I discussed it in the last review. She did spin the block. She came right on back to Chris. Shelly says, what? I'm not trying to like do anything like that. I was just having a 2-second kiss with him, so I don't understand what the big deal is. And I'm like, oh, not 2 seconds, Shelly. Stop that. See, this is what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Y'all are mad that the game is blowing up in y'all faces. Because at the end of the day, Shelly, you did not just have a 2-second kiss. You didn't expect to be called out for that 2-second kiss. This is the problem with these blurred lines that every couple has this season. Are you close or are you not? Y'all don't want to say you're close, but then you expect each other to act close. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. So, once again, Ace talks about how he sent home a connection that he had in order to pour all into their connection. And it hurts for him to still have to watch Shelly with Chris every day. And again, whether or not Ace sent Coco home for the diabolical plan that he has planned out through this season, it is true that Ace really is not talking to anybody. Whereas Shelly right now does have 2 connections. And I think the reality is it's time to lock down. It's time to take a pick. We're in the last couple of weeks of the season. Shelly, if you don't want to lock down on Ace, which is fair enough because Ace also took his time and he dragged his feet, that's cool and that's fine, but make that decision. We are at the end of the season. We can't be juggling multiple people. And Ace, I'm sorry, but you did take super long to get to this point, so it's understandable that Shelly would want to explore. If you want to lock down, then lock down. You even said yesterday, well, if she wanted, if I wanted to lock down, she probably would. Okay, so do it then. Do it then. If you feel so sure and you want her to act locked down on you, then do it. I'm tired of Shelly and Ace with this little thing that they've been doing the whole season because y'all are either locked in or you're not. But Ace is just mad now because he thought he had it in the bag with Shelly. Ace thought, oh, Shelly gonna choose me for sure. He thought he was big Ace and that he had it in the bag. That's why he was fine with sending Coco home. And now Ace is mad because he realizes he got competition. Stiff competition. Because he knows that Shelly is into Chris. That's what happens, though. That's what happens when y'all want to play, I don't even know. It ain't Love Island, though. So Alandrea and Huda, they have this awkward conversation at the table.
Am I a terrible person? I wouldn't say you're a terrible person. It was a little much.
Huda goes up to Alandrea and is like, do you think I'm a bad person? And Alandrea's like, I don't think you're a bad person, but I think it was a little much. Then she walks away. And I was like, oh. I was like, now this is what I'm talking about. Y'all wanted to keep her here. Y'all wanted to keep her here. I told y'all just wait on me because I be giving everyone the smoke. I give everyone one little episode to do their thing, but if it's too much, it's too much. There is no need to be walking away like that when y'all as a collective, voted to keep Huda here. You know that's how she acts. So Amaya comes over and Huda's like, I don't understand. You know, she walked away from me. I don't get why they're so upset. And hey, I don't know. Y'all wasn't feeling her. Y'all wasn't feeling her. Now it's time for bedtime. Nighttime rolls around. Taylor calls Clark beautiful. We never hear him say that to anyone else. And Chelley is still rapping on and on about how Ace is irritated because she feels some type of way about the kiss that he and Huda had. Then he's throwing out that she kissed Chris. And I'm like, Chelley, you did the same thing. You did, girl. You did. Let's just be very honest. You did. On to the morning time. So morning rolls around, Ace brings Chelley breakfast and flowers. Of note, Chris also brings Chelley 2 pancakes and a flower. And I was like, okay, so she got multiple breakfasts this morning. And Lon starts talking about how he wants to talk to Amaya. I'm like, yeah, okay. But at least Alana is trying to make some connections, so I'm proud of him. So the Casa girls and Huda, they are talking. So Huda says, again, I'm not trying to take Chelley's man. I'm not interested in Ace. And once again, look, I will keep it real with you. I really don't think Huda wants to go for Ace. I don't. Do I think that Ace has had feelings for Huda since the beginning? I do. I said that. I said that in the early season, and everyone told me, no, for sure. Chelley said, I have thought that Ace had feelings for Huda since the beginning. Go back and watch the early videos. Go back and watch the videos. Episodes 1 through 10, 1 through 15, whatever. Go back, check those out, especially if you haven't checked them out yet. And I really did think there was always a little thing that Ace had there. I thought that was always part of the thing that Ace had with Jeremiah, that the girls that Ace wanted to go for are the exact same girls that Jeremiah was able to bag. Now, also, Chris is like, shit, now Huda is upset. I can't even get my words straight. So Huda is very upset also because she feels like Chris is playing favorites now because he made her a pancake, Chelley a pancake with flowers and 2 pancakes. So now she's feeling some type of way because why about me? Why am I not getting something? Baby, send Huda home. Send Huda home because I feel like Huda is not having a good time here. I feel like ain't nobody in this villa mess with Huda. And at this point, it's like, what is even the purpose of wanting to be on a show like this where this is your experience every day? Just send her home. It's okay. You had your experience here just in the same way that people want Jeremiah back. I never wanted Jeremiah back because let's be honest, Jeremiah wasn't having a good time here. And he was not going to have a good time here. And neither is Huda. Y'all two did entirely too much, and now these people, for some reason, kept y'all around, but they don't like you. So again, for your own sanity, you should probably want to go home. Meanwhile, Alandrea is telling the other girls that she's going to start exploring other people today. She's going to be having conversations. I'm like, okay, Alandrea, who? Anyways, Nick and Sierra, they get a text that they're going to be going on a date today. Nick is letting the guys know before they leave that this is what he feels like he needs to know that he wants to close it off. So that is the plan today. Let's go over their date real quick.
This is where I want to formally ask you if you'd like to be closed off with myself.
So they have a conversation. Sierra does discuss how she feels like the kiss with Alandrea took things a little bit too far, and she doesn't really understand why it had to go to that level, which fair enough. I'm gonna keep it real. Y'all two knew you didn't have feelings for each other, Alandrea and Nick, so there was no real reason that y'all needed to kiss anyway. And she's like, how would you feel if in the reverse, it was me and Taylor exploring things? Nick says he gets that. He totally understands. But no matter what, he has always been on Sierra. All he wants is Sierra. And he just wants to officially close it off. So he asks her to officially close it off. Sierra is cheesing ear to ear during the date. She feels so happy. She says for her, it's always been Nick. And boy, oh boy, what a mistake this is to me. I am so sorry. I think this is a mistake. Nothing about Nick is giving that he is serious about Sierra. We don't even see them talk on a compatible level. I think Sierra, as I said, she needs to be giving Alana a chance. I don't know what it is about Nick that has Sierra so lost in the sauce. And now that they've gotten very intimate, I think it's even harder to get detached from someone like that. Especially when Nick acted like, oh, all the time he's been on Sierra. Baby, in Casa Amor, you got rejected by Jaden. You got rejected by Jaden. Had Jaden wanted you, you would have been yourself in a little triangle right now. So I see it, Nick. I know you want to secure your little win and be one of the only couples, but it's not giving. And I wish that Sierra had more context on everything, because I just feel like this is a very wrong decision for the two of them to lock it in or close it off. Chris and Huda. Huda thanks Chris for the breakfast, begrudgingly, and then launches into how she feels like Chelley got a better breakfast, blah, 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 blah. Huda starts to cry about everything, and she says all she really wants to do is fix it with Chelley. This is when Chris says, don't worry about it. Don't let it get to you. Literally, motherfuckers, they want to get upset and they want to get mad. They got their feelings hurt because they're in a challenge and they can't handle things. Huda then makes a really off comment where she's like, if I was ugly, would this make everything better? And you can see Chris's face. He was like, the fuck is he talking about? And I was like, what does that mean, Huda? It was such a weird comment to me. But in any event, at this point, Chris does still claim in the confessional after this he wants to get to know Chelley the most, but he's also starting to get to know Huda a little bit more. The two of them are hugging in this conversation. And you know what? This is where I said, you know what, Chelley? You better wake up and have that conversation. That's what you told Huda. You told Huda yesterday, hey, I'm gonna have a conversation with you. Why are you avoiding her the whole day? This was just an excuse. I'll only speak for Chelley right now because that's the energy. See, Chelley, you ain't never like her. You ain't never like her. Why you agreed to keep her here, I don't know. This whole situation is just a ploy for you to actually not be her friend because you're not feeling her. And that's fine. You don't have to be everybody's friend. You don't have to feel everyone. Huda has a lot of mess going on, so it's understandable. But the reality is you're using this situation as a guise to show your true feelings that you've had towards Huda the whole time. Because the fact that you can't even have a simple conversation with her about this situation is entirely too much. And we got Huda crying around the villa. As I said, send Huda home. Like, she's just not having a good time. Send her home. So Chelley's having a little conversation with Alandrea. Alandrea claims that she is going to give Zach K another chance. She feels that when they had conversations, her mind was stimulated. And even though they grew up on opposite sides of the pond, they still feel like they have a lot of different things in common. And I'm like, okay, Alandrea, at least you're trying to play the game. So I'm going to give it to you. Ace and Chelley.
It's just like, okay, we kissed for a little bit. When I went back the second time, after I'm standing there going up and down the freaking aisle with everybody, I'm still watching you. Like, it doesn't have to be all that. That's all I'm saying.
So then that comes to the conversation again of the whole closed off thing.
So Ace is trying to gauge where the mindset is with Huda. For Chelley, she says that she is still very upset because boundaries need to be drawn. At this point, there needs to be a line of what things can do. She goes, you know, look, I was just doing this, but you was doing all of this. And she starts acting out everything that Ace was doing during the competition. She's getting quite loud. She's very upset about the situation. And Ace is like, okay, but you also kissed Chris. And she's like, what I did is not as bad as what you did. And I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about, the game. Y'all are mad that the game blew up in your faces. The fact that the two of y'all are trying to compare who was worse when y'all are on the same level. Let's keep it very real. Y'all are on the same level for what you did in that game. The way you groped and grabbed Huda and did all of that, Ace, is the same as what Chelley did. Chelley, the way you double back on Chris, making out with him, doing the splits on him, and then coming back again for more, it is the same. Y'all are sitting here having this argument because, again, y'all want to act closed off, say you're closed off, expect the other one to act closed off, but neither one of you really wants to settle down on being closed off. Anyway, Ace says just because you're being loud doesn't mean that you are right. Chelley's like, I have to sit here and watch you kiss every single other person in this villa. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Ace is like, look, I'm gonna be honest. This is the conversation about closing things off, right? For me, these kinds of situations happen, and I feel like we can't even come to a consensus. So for me, I don't feel like we are at a level where we should close things off right now. It doesn't make sense. And again, y'all should not. Y'all absolutely should not close things off because there's nothing about y'all's partnership that gives we need to close off. I'm still not buying that either one of you is each other's ideal. Let me be real. I've said it so many times. I'm not buying that Chelley is Ace's ideal and Ace is Chelley's ideal. And that's why y'all keep running around this villa doing what you're doing. I'm tired. I'm gonna be honest. I'm tired of the madness between Chelley and Ace. It's absolutely too much. So Amaya's having a little conversation with Chris, and Elan, he doing his little eavesdropping on the side. Amaya's basically saying that she doesn't feel like Zach is here for the right reasons. He hasn't pulled her all day. All he does is talk to the guys and try to make friendship with the guys. So Elan runs over and is like, hey, just so you know, I overheard Amaya saying that she doesn't feel like you're here for the right reasons. So she wants to feel like you're here to actually make connections, whether it's pulling her or pulling other girls. I just want to let you know. And you know what, Elan is a specific type of messy and petty. And you know what? Hey, right now it's entertaining. But I said the same thing about Nick early season. And I can't stand him now. So we'll see. So Ace and Taylor are talking. Ace is once again questioning if he sent the wrong person home. At this point, he has to see Chelley making intimate connections with others while he's just sitting here having absolutely no one to really talk to. He put all his eggs in her basket. I'm not going to say it again. Y'all mad about y'all little game. Okay, I said it. At this point, though, Ace is in the confessional like, I just realized I'm not enough for her. And I don't know what more I can do to be enough for her. And I'm like, if these two don't give me a break, I don't really know what to say. So Elan and Brian. Elan is like, I don't really know when it comes to Sierra, because I feel like we haven't really talked. I know she pulled me the original night and said that she was willing to continue talking. But at this point, all I can go off of is a conversation that we had a while back where she said that she was so open to exploring. Brian brings him back to reality. I will say I like the Casa people because I feel like they are very level-headed with things. Brian's like, I will keep it real with you. She's on a date. I don't think she's thinking anything about a conversation with you. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not too sure that is her main priority right now. And you know what, Brian, you are absolutely right, because Sierra is busy in the midst of getting locked down with Nick. There is no more chances for you, Elan. So go on to your next one. So Sierra and Nick show back up as Elan is having this conversation about whether he and Sierra have a chance. And Elan is just like, oh my God, of course this would happen. But anyways, they fill in the guys and the girls essentially that they had a little picnic, that they talked through things, and that they are locked down. Ace says seeing Nick so happy makes him realize he wishes it was him. Seeing Nick so happy, he's not focused on talking to anyone else. He wishes that could be him at this point. And I'm like, baby, not them giving Ace the sad edit. Ooh, boy, Ace played his cards right. If he really did, manufacture all of this to be this way, Ace played his cards right. Because now he's getting the little sad edit. I'm not enough. Oh my God, Oh. No, this whole season you was also playing. And now Shelly's playing the same game back in your face and you upset. But people is probably going to eat that up. They are going to eat up Ace's little sob story. Amaya and Elan have a brief conversation. This is their first conversation. They both realize that family is very important to them. Way too early to tell if there's anything there. But again, props to these people for at least trying. Amaya, Elan, props to all of them for at least trying to talk to people and not giving up. On to the nighttime. So Alandrea, she basically goes to talk to Pepe and she tries to make a move.
You're an amazing girl, but I just want to see things through with Grayson.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole playing limbo with everything.
Yeah,
Going back and forth.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping that possibly we could explore a connection together. I know I ain't really ever pulled you like that. Pepe shoots her down in seconds. I was like, oh my God. Pepe's like, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to see it through with Grayson. I'm not really trying to flip back and forth from girl to girl. So yeah, we'll see, but I do want to see it through with Grayson. And I was like, hey, Alandrea, not you making a move and getting shot down. What did I say? Pepe likes blondes. Pepe has specifically gone for 2 women. Very similar look. I'm sorry, Alandrea. Pepe likes him some blondes. That's just reality. Alandrea and Zach, she's trying to give this a second chance. They start off talking about their individual pairings. For Alandrea, she's not sure what she did to Taylor. She doesn't really feel like she did anything wrong. So she realizes sometimes men just aren't feeling a woman and there's nothing more you can do. Fair enough, Alandrea. That's fair. That's true. I respect and agree with that. And that's why you realize that there's no point in continuing to run around and chase him and try to be everything that you think he wants, because at some points the spark just isn't there. And that's not a bad or a good thing. It's just sometimes the spark is not there. For Zach, he talks a lot about how he didn't really pull Amaya today. Yeah, Zach, is this Friendship Island for you? So they start to talk about different things. They talk about how when it comes to being corrected by their partner, they prefer to be corrected in private rather than in public. They don't want that embarrassment. But they both really enjoy talking. For Alandrea, she says, hey, we can keep this going since we're both open. No one's locked down. We can keep this going and continue. Girl. The Clark and Taylor. Clark is like, so how should I feel after this challenge? Taylor says, look, I tried to be very respectful to you by not kissing Alandrea, and I let her know that. So Clark is then like, okay, are you and Alandrea planning to continue your connection? Basically, Clark wants to just cut straight to the chase and figure it out. Taylor says, look, I let her know that I don't get the same feelings with her that I get with you. At the end of the day, I'm on you. I really like you. And again, y'all two stick together. Clark, I like how Clark handled a lot of things because you know what? I do think that sometimes when you're a Casa girl, the OG girls, they be doing a lot. And I feel like I've seen so many people online being like, send Clark home immediately. Send Clark home. How dare Clark? Let's be honest, it's not Clark's fault. It's not. It is not Clark's fault. If anybody is at fault here, it is Taylor, and not because he got into a relationship with Clark. That's not the fault. The fault is Taylor's dishonesty. The fault is Taylor's lack of being able to stand up and be honest with Alandrea to her face directly about it. Now he is, through so many words, I'll give it to him. But I think there is no reason that we should be calling for Clark to go home. And to be frankly honest, I'm sorry. I know y'all ain't going to hear this, because Clark and Taylor are a good couple. They seem to have chemistry. They seem to have banter. They seem to really like each other. And although certain things I don't know if they would agree on outside of the villa, for instance, yesterday's conversation where Taylor was talking about having horses running around, Clark was definitely kind of making a little face. I don't know if that's really the lifestyle she wants to live. I do think at least in the villa, they do seem to synchronize and have chemistry in that way. And there is nothing wrong with their pairing. There's nothing wrong. So for all the people calling for Clark to go home, I'm sorry, I don't want Clark to go home. Do I want Alandrea to go home? I don't, but as I said, if Alandrea can't find somebody, then I don't know. That's just me though. Shelly and Sierra talk, they debrief on the whole day.
Slept on it, and I still feel how I feel. I'm curious to see what she has to say. I know a part of it will be apology, but it's just like, okay.
With Ace and Huda. So Shelly is talking about how Ace asked her if she's frustrated. And while she said no, she is definitely very, very frustrated. They move on to Huda, and Shelly does say, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I put the Huda conversation on hold. At this point, I feel like, yeah, sure, some of the conversation would be apologies. But at this point, I've just realized that I could be cordial with her, but we do not have to be friends. And again, why couldn't you just say that earlier? Girl, why couldn't you just say that earlier? You don't want to be her friend. And that's it. There it is in the crux of everything. You just don't want to be with her friend. You just don't mess with her like that. You don't mess with her like that. And that is fine. You are allowed to do that. But let's not pretend like what she did is any worse than what you did, which is any worse than what Ace did, because all of that is messy. She's not going to talk to Huda. And I'm like, okay, girl. I mean, y'all can have a conversation. It doesn't really make sense. At this point, Shelly claims she does not have the energy for all these individual chats with Chris, with Ace, with Shelly, with Huda, sorry. And I'm like, okay, Shelly, again, I'm not going to hold you. Day 2, we don't need to be doing all that. And in the same way I talked about Huda's multi-day crash out, your multi-day crash out is also not working for me, Shelly. I'm sorry, girl. But just admit you don't want to be the girl's friend and leave it alone. And let's not use the guys that, oh, what she did is so much worse than anything else, because no. Y'all was doing a lot in that challenge. So Chris and Huda, they're in the speakeasy.
Because I'm always scared of getting hurt. Because I think that I've never had somebody not hurt me. Have you ever cheated?
And Chris is like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to keep doing things for somebody and not getting anything in return. He lets us know in the confessional that he's not really getting reciprocated feelings from Shelly, which is kind of turning him off. So at this point, he wants to go full steam ahead on exploring with Huda. The two of them are talking quietly, whispering, cuddling in each other's chests, and they kiss it out. It definitely seems like there is about to be a little something here, even if it's just temporary. But Chris is like, I'm done. Ace, you can have her. So at this point, the question is, Shelly, you and Ace are on tense terms. Now, Chris is also on tense terms with you as well. So what happens with Shelly? What happens? I personally think she and Ace are going to make it back. I'm just going to keep it real. But what is going to happen here, because Chelley and both of her connections are not doing so well. So anyways, if you made it to this point of the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. In addition to that, I have a $1 channel membership. Hit the join button right next to the subscribe button. Thank you so much to all of my members, everyone that interacts with the videos, everyone that comes back on the daily, and to the new subscribers. I hope this is the video that makes you hit that button. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.